Stoicism, a philosophy from over 2 millennia ago during the ancient Roman era, focuses on guiding people on how to face life's setbacks and manage emotions. I've always been fond of Stoic thought. It has helped me through many moments of self-doubt and emotional lows. Therefore, I will share 5 Stoic habits that I find particularly practical and hope they will also enrich your life. Let's begin. The first one is about keeping a morning journal. One of the most widely known Stoic works, Meditations, is essentially a diary. Its author, Marcus Aurelius, was an emperor during the ancient Roman era. Every day, he had to deal with all sorts of human conflicts and trickery. Amidst such a chaotic and unstable era, he wrote down his thoughts. But he didn't write for others. It was to help himself think. He used his writings to remind himself of the right attitude to face those tough times in life, and that's why his ideas have made it to our times. There's a saying that writing isn't just a product of thinking, it's your actual thinking process. Writing can help you clarify the problems and thoughts you're dealing with. And here's a writing exercise I want to introduce to you. It's called Morning Journal. This exercise comes from a highly acclaimed book called The Artist's Way. The author, Julia Cameron, describes this method as like the windshield wipers on a car, helping to clear away all the stress and reflective thoughts at the start of your morning. The method for morning journal is super simple. Just sit down somewhere after you wake up and write 3 pages of notes. Yes, it's that simple and straightforward. You can write about absolutely anything, with no limits or rules. No matter how trivial, boring, or silly it seems, just write it down boldly. This exercise isn't about creating some literary masterpiece or writing for others. Think of it like a trash can for your emotions. You might think this kind of exercise doesn't make much sense, but actually, the benefits it brings are quite profound. A lot of times we feel annoyed and stressed in life mainly because our heads are filled with a jumble of thoughts, daily worries, busy jobs, etc. Those feelings of anger, complaints, and petty issues are what make us restless. When you take some time in the morning to specifically write down all that bothers you, you'll find your stress significantly reduced. Kevin Kelly once said, "When you are stuck, explain your problem to others. Often simply laying out a problem will present a solution." The next habit is continuous reading. I think the benefits of reading are pretty obvious. Warren Buffett in many interviews mentioned how a book changed his life. That's Benjamin Graham's The Intelligent Investor. This classic investment book introduced a young Buffett, around his 20s, to the concepts of value and investing, eventually making him one of the most famous investors in the world. He believes that reading is the most worthwhile investment in life. The famous American writer James Baldwin once said, "You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read." Reading helps you realize that many of the problems you're facing have been experienced by others, who have also provided answers. Reading makes you realize you're not alone. Like we mentioned earlier about Marcus Aurelius, he was an emperor, which back then was probably one of the loneliest jobs, right? He had to think and face all the tough problems himself, but through reading and learning from books passed down from other empires, he understood that the various issues and struggles he was facing were also experienced by kings in other eras. Reading these books helped him find support in those turbulent times, preventing an emotional breakdown. Later, he managed Rome well, bringing prosperity to the people, and became one of the greatest emperors in Roman history. The third practice is to always consider the worst-case scenario. Imagine for a moment what it would be like if we lost everything we have now. Thinking deliberately about bad things happening is uncomfortable for many people. But like Buddhism, Stoicism also encourages us to contemplate the impermanence of the world and understand that nothing is 100% certain. By imagining the worst outcome in advance, you can prepare yourself early. Sure, some things might still happen no matter how well you prepare. But even so, because you've already thought about these possibilities, when they actually happen, the impact on you will be much less. The goal of this exercise is to keep you cautious, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst. Seneca wrote about how everything in human life is transient and easily lost. Everything we cherish, everyone we love, will one day leave us. There will be a last time for everything. The last time you brush your teeth, get a haircut, drive a car, or have dinner. There'll be a last time you hear the rain, see flowers bloom, watch a movie in the theater, or have a reunion with family and friends. By thinking about how everything in the world is impermanent, you're forced to realize that every time you do something, it could be the last. Things we thought we could repeat endlessly suddenly become incredibly meaningful. Realizing this fact can change the way you do anything. Maybe you won't raise your voice at your parents again. Maybe you'll be less indifferent to your partner, or maybe you'll join in your friends' gatherings more actively. I also want to emphasize that negative visualization is just an exercise, not something to make you anxious. Stoicism teaches that occasionally taking time out from your normal life to think about how everything you enjoy, people, events, things, could one day disappear is a way to prepare yourself mentally and physically. Far from making you gloomy, this kind of practice can actually enhance your enjoyment of your current life. It also helps prevent taking the world for granted. The fourth practice is to actively seek out discomfort. Besides just imagining bad things happening, Stoicism also suggests that we should regularly live as if the worst has already happened. For example, instead of just imagining what it's like to lose wealth, we should periodically experience poverty. Regularly lowering your standard of living, getting by with minimal resources, eating the simplest food, fasting, or deliberately not using air conditioning and internet, not driving. These things add inconvenience to your life. This kind of experiment can toughen up your character, helping you face life's occasional setbacks more calmly. We often hear older folks say that young people need to endure hardships to grow up, and I think that's the idea. A friend of mine once sent his 12-year-old son to a summer camp in Africa. When the son returned, he completely changed his attitude towards being picky with food and spending money recklessly, even thinking twice before buying a t-shirt. Sometimes, experiencing hardships and troubles firsthand truly makes you appreciate how lucky your current life is. It helps you reduce unnecessary complaints in life. Like, if a waiter brings the wrong food, you won't blow your top off. You won't give up over a temporary setback because you know that being able to live healthily, enjoy food, watch movies, have family and friends who care about you, and occasionally travel to see the world, these things are actually the greatest luck. The fifth practice I'm talking about today is Amor Fati, love your fate. It means to imagine all the challenges and difficulties you're facing as fuel thrown into the fire of life, things that are there to make you a better person. I think this is also the best attitude to have when facing adversity. Whether the outcome is good or bad, whether your boss is nice or not, whether the weather is sunny or cloudy, or what clients think of you, these aren't things you can control. What you can control is your reaction in the moment. How much effort you decide to put into something, and the attitude you choose to face it with. Since it's already happened, instead of wallowing in self-pity and blaming others, it's better to ask yourself if there's something to learn from it, to avoid making the same mistake again, or think about what you can do to change the situation. One day in December 1914, a huge fire broke out at inventor Thomas Edison's laboratory, destroying equipment worth over $2 million and years of research records. Edison's son was standing there, stunned, watching the inferno, unable to grasp what was happening. But Edison, with a sense of humor, said to his kid, "Quick, go get your mother and friends. They'll never see a fire like this again." Edison showed an incredibly optimistic attitude. Despite the fire causing a huge financial loss and destroying his research, at least he and his family were safe. This is what Amor Fati, love your fate, means. The fire had happened, an irreversible fact, and what he could do was take it as a lesson, an experience, a fuel for life. Actually, Edison rebuilt his laboratory within a month and got right back to work. That year, he managed to generate nearly $10 million in revenue, which is equivalent to about $200 million today. Stoicism teaches that focusing on what you can control brings peace and stability. While others might be hesitating over things beyond their control, you're already dedicating your time and energy to what you can influence. This reminds me of a saying I really like: every story has a happy ending. If it's not happy, then it means the story isn't over yet. Everything that happens to us isn't just by chance, it's fuel to make us better. Amor Fati. If we consistently apply these practices in our lives, they can bring about lasting changes. I hope today's video has given you some inspiration, and it's also a reminder for myself. So, in the new year, let's complain less, stay healthy, exercise more, spend more time with family, and truly enjoy the beautiful life. If you love this video, don't forget to like, share, and hit the bell icon to stay updated on my latest content. Thanks for watching.